Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how do you feel today? Alhamdulillah, I hope all of you is doing great. In this good opportunity, I would like to tell you guys about how to have good communication in the workplace. Well, as we know, communication can be said to be an important part in our life. Without communication, we will not be able to achieving something what we want. But we have to know too that communication is not just talking wherever we want. There are several stages and ways how to be able to use communication well. Because it is useless if we can communicate but cannot communicate well, especially in the work environment or in the office. So, how do we have good communication? But first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Ramania Alfani. You can just call me Rara. I am a participant of Office Festival 2025 in the field Office Administration Competency of Vocational High School. Alright, let's start from my first slide. For today's presentation, I have 7 key points that I will tell to you. The first key point is about the definition, second is the purpose, third the kind, fourth the principle, fifth ways to increase, 6 example of communication, and the last is conclusion. And of course, all of them is about communication in the workplace. Okay, before we know how to be able, how to good in communication, we have to know before who is communication, like what their meaning, and more about communication. On my slide has been explained that communication in the workplace is a process of conveying information, instructions, or feedback to each coworker, leader, or subordinate to achieve organizational goals effectively and efficiently. Remember this part? Process of conveying information, instructions, or feedback at that office for achieving organizational goals. Next, communication have several purposes. There are 3 purposes of communication that I will tell to you. The first purpose is about hold the harmonious working relationship. So, in the office, we must have good harmonious each other. That's why we have to communicate each coworker to keep that harmonious. And then beside harmonious, we have to increasing the productivity and work efficiency too. And then conveying information and instructions clearly so that we can make our corporate running smoothly. And then of course, communication have several kinds too that we have to remember it. The first kind of communication is verbal, and then non-verbal, and the last is written. We start the explanation from verbal first. So, verbal is a communication that delivered verbally, such as through meetings, telephone, or direct discussion. And then non-verbal. Non-verbal is a communication that delivered non-verbally, such as through body language, face expression, and eye contact. And the last is written. Written is a communication that delivered writingly, such as through email, report, or chat at work platform. Like me now, I am using verbal and non-verbal kind of communication because I delivered the information verbally, and then there are body language and face expression that I'm using during the presentation. And then do communication have principle? Yes, of course. Communication have several principles. The first principle of communication is clear and concise. What the meaning? The meaning is when we're doing communication, we have to deliver the information without long-winded. Remember this part? Without long-winded. And then the second is active listening. So when we're doing communication, we have to listen actively each other. And then the next is respect. Respect for what? Respect for others, people, opinions. Even they have a different opinion from us, it's okay. Just be respect. And then when we're doing communication, we have to giving and even achieving feedback constructively. And the last is empathy. So, when we're doing communication, don't be selfish. We have to know others' people's feelings and their point of view. Okay, this is the main part or the important part for today's presentation because we can know how. There are several ways of increasing our communication skill. The first way is using polite language and professional. I think it's really important because we don't apply polite language just in the office, but wherever we are, especially when we're doing communication with adults. And then the second is pay attention to intonation and body language. Like me now, even though just a video, I am still checking my intonation and my body language so that you can understand what I'm saying. And then the next is ask again if you didn't understand. I think it's the second important from first because it can make big impact for our underestimate in the future. And the next is be open and respect each other's opinions, back to the principle. And the last is avoid office gossip or negative communication, back to the first ways. We have to be good professional at communication. Okay, for make our understanding better, I will give you one example of good communication. With the situation, the coworkers are late in completing assignment. So, how to communicate it? You can say, I want to make sure everything is running smoothly. Are there any issues with the assignment? Maybe I can help, so we can get it done on time. From that sentence, we can learn not only blaming, but also providing empathy, and then offering help as a firm suggestion for resolution. Alright, I think it's enough from all of my explanation about how we can have good communication. I hope it can useful for you all. But before I really close my presentation now, I have a little conclusion from all of my explanation. That good communication in the workplace isn't just about talking. It's also about listening, understanding, and maintaining professional relationships. Effective communication can build a positive and productive work environment. That's all. I hope it can be useful for us and thank you so much for your watching and I apologize if there is any mistakes during the presentation. I am Rahmani Alfani. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.